Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream. So I'm just going to give it a minute or two just to see if people get the notification that we are going live. And as well as that, what I'm going to do is just do a quick summary of what has happened this week, and then we'll just kind of see what's going on, see if anyone has any questions. And as always, I will answer whatever I can. Anything I can't, I will try and get the answers to have it in an update video later on. So if you guys can hear me okay, I think audio looks like it should be okay on my side, and picture and everything, let me know as well. And I will get set up then as well. Evening Mark, evening 2D and S Walker, thanks for joining. Jelly and Mezzer Lip Tick J, welcome guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope all of you guys are having a great Saturday. Wee Mops from Edinburgh, welcome. And anyone who has a beer is welcome here. Unfortunately, this is non-alcoholic because I am driving later on, but beer, I was going to say it's optional, but could be a requirement either. Okay, so I think we are live. Anyone can hear me. Evening, James. Look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the updates, and then I will come back around at the end and check what questions there are. If you guys can hear me, just let me know in the comments just to make sure. So starting out, we had, yep, you guys can hear me okay. Thanks very much. So Charles put out a video yesterday. This is probably the main update. So we did have the Cardano 360 event during the week, which was great. It was shorter than usual, which to be honest is no harm. Some of them are extremely long and there's so much information you can't really take it all in. But something that's always good is the Cardano Mini that David puts together the day after the 360 event. So he sums up what are the main points that happened in the event. So again, there's the one that's here. I will put a link to this down below the video when I'm finished, or if you search over on the IOHK website, you'll get that there. And it's only 4 minutes long. The main summary was they went through what's going on with the Alonzo hard fork. They got into lots of detail. For some people, it'll be too much technical detail on what is happening within each stage. And then I suppose the more important one for me anyway was Charles put out a video yesterday talking about the whole rollout process. And he broke down that if you've seen the charts before, there was all of the colored zones in the rollout. There's white, there's light purple, dark purple, all the different colors. And what he was basically saying is we don't have to get to the end of the colors in order to do the hard fork combinator event. And that is where they actually upgrade the node software. That's where we get the hard fork on the network. Once that happens, smart contracts are live on the Cardano mainnet. So that, he said that is tentatively set for the 31st of August. Now, again, when that rolls out, it's not going to be the best platform for developers to actually launch because a lot of the tooling isn't going to be there first. He said then on, I think it is, did I take a note? I think September 10th then is the next date that they're looking at rolling out a lot more of the tooling, and dApps would be available from then. So again, this is a tentative date, the 31st of August, but I would say we're not going to get a whole lot in the first week or two after that event. What that means is the software will be live on the mainnet, but a lot of the tooling needed for developers isn't going to be there just then. It will follow over the few weeks after that. So that was, I suppose, the highlight there. And great to see that we are on track because Alonzo White was about a week and a half late on the testnet, but all seems to be going fairly well. Obviously, there are bugs. There are hearing reports of different bugs, but that is all part of the testnet and seems to be running a lot smoother than when Shelly was on testnet. They were having a lot more issues than they are now. So all in all, it seems fairly positive from there. Also, they did mention the Cardano Summit that's happening in September. So again, what they're trying to do is set up some virtual meetups all around the world as well, where people can actually go to these and the event will be streamed live there, as well as the in-person event as well. So you can come on here to summit.cardano.org and you can register your interest there and put in your details, and you see when you click if you're interested in meeting up, you can see Europe here, and under Europe, unfortunately they don't have Ireland. They have Athens, Berlin, Kiev, London, BC and Zurich. So maybe they'll add Ireland after this. I am starting to find more and more Irish people involved in cryptocurrency and specifically ADA as time goes on. It's great to see so many involved in it. Within my own Telegram group, there's more and more Irish people popping up every day. We do have an extremely diverse group. We have people all over the world. But just personally being from Ireland, it's great to see the interest that is here as well. So again, if you want to check that out, then again, summit.cardano.org. They also mentioned the Cardano developer portal. So it has had some more updates. So if you're interested in kind of diving a bit deeper, I suppose, on the tech side, you can check this out. So integrating Cardano, so how you can go about integrating into Cardano, building with transaction metadata if you want to get deeper into that side of things, native assets, funding your project. So this is all about Project Catalyst. So voting is still ongoing for Fund 5. Fund 6, that is closing in the next few days. I'm not sure how many days are left, 3 or 4 days left to vote. But Fund 6 is being set up now as well. And I think it's $4 million is up for funding in Fund 6. So a huge pot there for people who are interested in building on top of Cardano, have projects in mind that they would like to build. So I need to double check that. I will probably do a specific video on that because Fund 6 is going to be a big one. And I look at the dates and what people need to do in order to register their interest in putting forward a project as well. And then the final part is all about stake pools security, setting them up. Lots of really good links in there as well. We also seen John O'Connor on Sky News this week. Unfortunately, the video is down at the minute. There might be another video put up after this, but Daniel had originally put out the video. It was put up on Vimeo, but when you go to the link now, it's gone. It was John O'Connor over on Sky News answering questions. The segment was all about IOHK bringing the solution out to Ethiopia, to the education system out there. And the Sky News interviewer was fairly critical of it, but I suppose that is his job. I've seen some comments on that the guy was very critical, but that is what he's there to do, answer or ask the harder questions. And John took the questions extremely well. I thought it was a great showcase, a great representation for what is going on within the system here. And I think he really represented very, very well in the presentation that he gave. It was only a few minutes long. And if I do get another video of that, I will put it out because it was great to see. So then another one here is the C Fund have made some more investments. So the C Fund is, we'll get the proper description here. The C Fund is a crypto native hedge fund managed by Wave Financial in partnership with IOG. So this is where they are investing in businesses and products being deployed on Cardano. So previously they had invested in Coty, BlockSwap Network. It's not what I'm actually familiar with. I do need to put that onto the list to dive deeper into it and find out a bit more about. And then OccamFi also got an investment, which is, it's a huge, I would say, even to let people know about OccamFi and give people a bit of trust in them that IOG have put an investment in them through C Fund. So I will be talking to Elliot Hill next week, I think Monday. So I should have a video out early next week. I did have Elliot on before. Anyone who hasn't heard, OccamFi is a launchpad for projects trying to launch on top of Cardano. They also recently launched their native asset, the native asset version. So when they came out first, they are an ERC20 token. But now the native asset version of their token is now available on Bitrue as well. So I did have a quick chat with Adam from Bitrue and Jeremy from the Cardano Foundation there yesterday. So that has been recorded. I just need to get that tidied up and put that out early next week as well. It's only about 10-15 minutes long, but just talking to Bitrue to see how can other native assets get listed on the exchange now. So it's great to be at this stage where native assets can be listed on exchanges. I know they're centralized exchanges and there are so many DEXs trying to build on top of Cardano, which is great to see, but we will also need decentralized exchanges for some people. And right now Bitrue do look to be trying to do their bit for the Cardano ecosystem. So what else did I have? That was just my profile. I think I covered the main things. I suppose in general the markets have been really good this week. When we were doing the video last week, I didn't expect them to be that good. Actually, here's one. I did put out a video during the week that I think is worth watching for lots of people out there. So it's talking about some of the common scams that are out there on top of Cardano and cryptocurrency in general. We see a lot of these live streams, lots of these Telegram bots and all of this type of stuff, impersonators. I go through all of that in this video, as well as some of the due diligence that I use when I am looking at new projects. So the types of questions I ask when I'm looking at a project is all included in that. And I'm going to start diving deeper into projects as well. I did put out a vote. I'm not going to look for it now, but basically the result of the vote, I put one out on YouTube and out on Twitter, and the result was that instead of just doing interviews with projects, what people want to see is part of the video is me diving into the project, doing a bit of an analysis on it, and then having a follow-up with the project as well. So it's not just kind of a few questions with the project, it's actually diving deeper into it as well. So I will start trying to put them types of things together for some of the upcoming interviews as well, because I put out another post, where is it, on gaming. Doesn't matter anyhow, but I put out a post looking for projects, for gaming projects that are building on top of Cardano, and I got a lot of really good replies in the post. But what was also good to see was I got some private messages as well from projects that aren't gone public yet and haven't put anything out with what they're building. So I've scheduled some calls to talk to a few of them, already talked to one or two as well, and there's a lot more going on Cardano than what can be seen publicly right now. And I think over the next few months, we're going to see a crazy number of projects launching on the platform. There's lots of projects building in silence now, getting everything together, because look, we don't have smart contracts on the mainnet, so they are needed to run a lot of these dApps and run the interactions with the blockchain. But once we do have that live, I think things are really going to kick off, if what I've seen in the background is anything to go by. So finally, building on Cardano, we also have, Paddy has also put together a really nice update to the front end. So now there is a July most popular, you can see here. Anyone not familiar with this, this is the project or the website we've put together to track all of the projects building on top of Cardano. So what it is any project can come in, register their account for free and add their project in. And we're going to bring more and more interaction into this as well as time goes on. So this can be, a one-stop shop for anyone looking to research projects on top of Cardano. And the July most popular is done by whichever project gets the most visits within the month. Then that is what is going to show you what is, the hottest project at the time. So we can see right now that World Mobile is currently the most searched for project on the website. And I feel that as things go on, as we get more and more projects, this will also give a good indication to see what are people actually looking for on the platform. So let's see what I'm missing in the questions, and then I will go over to the charts and take a look at that, because as I say, it has been an incredible week for Bitcoin anyway. Not so much for altcoins, for Cardano and lots of other coins out there. Some of them are popping, but mainly it has been a really great week for Bitcoin. So what have I missed here? Moco Crypto, I really appreciate the super chat. Thanks very much, the $2 super chat. My thoughts on Meld. So look, Meld is fairly, there's people who are on the side of it's a complete scam, and there's people that are on the side of it's the best thing ever. There's not that many people stuck in the middle on it, and I see both sides of it, and I am more so to the middle rather than one extreme or the other. I think they have a lot of good ideas. They definitely have what they want to do, especially I think they call it the Genius loan, where you can take out a loan, and because you are using ADA as the collateral, they will actually use the yield generated on that to pay down the principal on the loan. So all you ever pay is the interest on it. Now there's potentially some really beneficial tax benefits to that. If it works out, I haven't talked to an accountant or anything like that, but generally when you cash in crypto or you take a loan in some of these things, is when you actually convert your crypto into fiat, then you pay your capital gains tax and lots of taxes on that. But if you can actually just put your crypto up as collateral and they actually pay the principal down based on what that crypto earns, potentially there is not going to be much of a tax event there. You don't have to pay capital gains, but again, that's going to be different in every country. So that is something that I do like about what they're doing. I have a lot of questions around the amount of funds that they're trying to raise. I also seen Ken was on with Kaizen Crypto. That was a really good interview as well. Anyone not following Kaizen, great guy to follow in the cryptocurrency space as well. The interview there, and there was talk around issues with US people delegating to the stake pool. So again, I think there's going to be another one. I don't know, did Rob from Digital Asset News, he mentioned something about it as well, did Ken was coming on to his channel. So that's one I didn't get to check yet. So I'm not sure if that happened. But issues around US investors getting involved in, because basically they are getting the token for giving up their ADA rewards, and when it comes to tax and declaring it and all of that, then there could be issues there, but I need to do a lot more research on it. I think they definitely have a lot of potential. There's definitely a lot of questions that need to be answered, red flags there, that along the money side, how much money they're raising, they don't seem to know themselves exactly how much they need to raise. And some of the targets, when I work out how much ADA they're taking in, they could be taking in an incredible amount of money. But that's it on them. Sky News hates everyone. Yeah, they're very critical on everything. So I wouldn't read too much into it. JK, I'm Korean, haha. Tesla, welcome ADA180. ADA180 is another really good channel to follow if you are in crypto. Puts out short form videos about what is going on in the cryptocurrency space, so it's definitely one to check out as well. Michael feels like a kid on Christmas Eve. Yeah, there definitely is a lot of stuff coming. Realistic 5-year price guess. Vincent said $10. $10 is within 5 years. Yeah, I think that's a realistic one, but there's so much could change in the industry. We see there's some big regulation coming out in the US. I've seen lots of threads on Twitter about it. I haven't looked into it personally yet, so I don't want to get into commenting on it. Lots of people concerned about what it means in KYC for basically any entity in the crypto space. But there's lots of things that could come out like that with regulation, and we don't know what kind of impact that's going to have. I think the way that Cardano is being built, and especially with the likes of Atala Prism and Identity and everything in there, we could be in a very good position when it comes to lots of people say that, oh, we don't want regulation. Regulation is going to come for cryptocurrency, and if we want to be accepted long term and go bigger and bigger, then we just need to accept regulation as part of that process. Now, I don't mean regulation in that they can come in and control your funds and everything like that. We should still be able to keep control of our funds. That's what decentralized funds is all about. So within 5 years, a lot is going to happen. Within this bull market, yes, I still think we're in a bull market. We're kind of at a fairly pivotal point. I'll get to the charts after this, actually. I think we're at a pivotal point in this. If we stay in this bull market, then up around that $4 or $5 is definitely possible within the next few months. Nothing guaranteed, as always. We need to keep an eye on a lot of external factors as well. Crawford says, yeah, USA's lack of regulations put the idea of the ISPO in a real sketchy place. Yeah, look, I'm not here to downplay any project. There's just lots of questions there that need to be asked, and if I was in the US, I probably would have been a lot more proactive on getting into that a lot quicker to see what are the implications there. But I will dig deeper into that and put a video together on ISOs in general, because it's something I think isn't going to go away. And I think it's a model that has a lot of potential, but it has a lot of potential for good and bad. It's a model that can be abused very easily by projects. Dream up, like I done in the scam video, showed you on Fiverr.com how easily it is for projects to go out there. For probably $500, you can get a white paper created, you can get a native asset, you can get a really fancy looking website, and that is all you need to actually start up an ISO or even a project sale in general. So again, always be very critical. It's better to start from a critical point of view when you're looking at a project. When you are looking at giving up your funds, always start from a critical point of view and see what do they fulfill a certain criteria that meets your standards for an investment. And there's various things. Once a project is more established, then it is a lot easier to give them an investment then. So look, let's take a look at the charts and then we'll go back and see if there are any questions then. And if you haven't hit like, please do so. If you're new, you haven't subscribed yet, then I really do appreciate everyone that subscribes and continues to support the channel here. So we'll start off looking at the Bitcoin chart, and let's just see, am I covering? Not too bad. So looking at the chart here, we can see that Bitcoin has been on a phenomenal run over the last, I think that was 10 days, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 green candles. Now today is looking a bit more in jeopardy of trying to get the 11th candle. And the red line here, for anyone new who hasn't been following the charts here, this is the downtrend since the all-time high on the 14th of April, which was up around the $65,000 level. And I do personally believe, non-financial advice and all that general kind of stuff, I do see us hitting a new all-time high this year. I would expect a pullback on this, especially when we're coming up on the downtrend right now. We are getting, we zoom right in on it here, we are getting the rejection in around this downtrend. We did break through the $41,000 level, which I've talked about for the last, I suppose, since we came into this range here. It was 41 and 31 were the two levels that I talked about. We were just stuck trending between them. So we did get above 41, but hitting a lot of resistance now on the downtrend. So right now we're waiting to see how this candle closes. To be honest, I'm really not worried about if we do get a rejection pulling back down in around here somewhere. Even if we pull back down around $38,500, get a bit of buying support down here and then go again to try and break through the downtrend. Overall, has been an absolutely massive week. If we look from the low down here where we went down to just over $29,000 to the current price right now is up 40%. If we went to where the high was there, you're up to 43, 44%. So all in all, a very, very good week for Bitcoin. I would say lots of altcoins are suffering out there right now, and the ADA price is one of them as well. If we look at the ADA USD price, we did break out of the downtrend here, and I did do a video on this earlier in the week. When we broke out of it here, we came back down and tested it and then went up again. So you can see again, actually, I haven't moved any of these lines, but we did once again have the breakdown here before pushing back up. It did go down and touch what was the downtrend. So waiting to see how this plays out. If Bitcoin was to cool off this week, I think that would generally be a good thing for ADA and for other altcoins, because if the Bitcoin price did cool down and sat in around 38 to the $41,000 level and stayed there for a few days, that would really give a good chance for lots of the other coins to excel. If we look at the ADA BTC chart, so I talk about this chart a lot, the ADA BTC chart, because you always want to see how you're performing against Bitcoin. Anyone new, this is the price of ADA against Bitcoin. So you can see in general, we've been going really, really well. Over the last week or 2 weeks, you can see we're starting to bleed a bit against Bitcoin. So the dotted line up here was the long-term uptrend that I did have, and I hadn't taken into account this wick. So I changed it just earlier on when I was looking at it to see what was going on. And when you change it, you can see that we are right around that level now, right around the support on this overall uptrend, which is started down here in the beginning of January, down around, 500 sats. So it's crazy to see where we are so far this year. So against Bitcoin, we are still a 6x for this year. So ADA has outperformed Bitcoin by 6x so far. Waiting to see where this goes. We really do need to start finding some support here. And if Bitcoin, as I said, does cool off, does start to just trend sideways a little bit, then August could be a very good month for ADA. Because when you start to look back at this, when we've had these hard fork combinator events previously, we've always got a really good run up within ADA. Generally within a cryptocurrency, when you're coming up to a fairly big event, what you see is a huge run up in the price coming up to it, but then you do always get a bit of a sell off after it. So you can see back here, the end of February, beginning of March, this was the Mary hard fork here. So you can see we had the huge run up here and then we had the pullback. So again, this wasn't actually a specific release or anything, but this was the run up in May where we went up and hit the all-time high. Now again, I'm on the ADA BTC chart, but in terms of the ADA USD price, we had the run up here to hit our all-time high. Currently that looks at just over 5,000 sats. So I still think that in this run up, if this price starts to get itself together, we will go above the 5,000 sats level, which when you look at, if we're at 3,000 now, that would be, I'm not going to try and do the maths, but it's just under a 2x, we'll say. A bit under a 2x in terms of this here. But then if you take into account where Bitcoin is, then we'll have to see where it stands, because generally Bitcoin is still going to be the driver in the market. When you look at the ADA BTC chart, you see that we have went 6x against Bitcoin this year, which is phenomenal gains. If you just put your funds into ADA at the beginning of the year and left them there, then you're sitting very nicely now. I've seen this time and time again where people look, and even if we look at CoinGecko here, so let's look at the last 7 days. So people will look around here and they'll look at other coins and they'll see that Neo, Thorchain, now Thorchain had a huge drop from being hacked twice or 3 times, I think, over the last 2 weeks. And you look at AMP and Terra and you look at these huge gains here, and people think they're going to go and they jump out of their coin that hasn't been doing that well. They jump out of it and then try and jump into these coins when they see big gains. But when you see huge growth like this isn't the time generally. Now, generally, it depends what's going on with an individual coin, but generally you don't FOMO into a coin when it has these crazy kind of gains like this. What happened with a lot of people within ADA was when we were back here, we were down around here, around the February timeframe, we were starting to see a lot of other coins taking off. And even when we broke up here coming into March, we went up, set a new all-time high at the time, and then had the pullback down to around $1.02. When you take the zoomed out view looking at the ADUSD price, 102 has just been incredibly strong. Anytime we've come down towards it, we've got a lot of support. So in general, that's what I think is our solid support on ADA. Can we come back down and test that again? Yes, definitely possible to test 102 again. With how close we are getting to the Alonzo rollout and what we've seen previously, I wouldn't like to see us testing down around these levels. Ideal situation is Bitcoin goes steady for a little while, starts to creep upwards. Again, it's going to have pullbacks, but by going steady, I mean between that $38,000, $41,000 level for Bitcoin to give us a chance to really push to the upside then. And again, non-financial advice, I think setting a new all-time high in the USD price this year is inevitable for ADA with everything that is coming. I would expect that before Alonzo. After Alonzo, we will get a pullback. It's just how these markets go. And then it's adoption. It's what projects we see launching on the platform is what is really going to push us up higher then and determine where we can go for the end of the year. So let's see if I missed anything else. We are about 20-25 minutes in now. So if you have any questions, do let me know. If you haven't hit like, then please do so as well. So what have I missed? Not a whole lot. It's a quiet enough Saturday evening. Yeah, Crawford says about they're trying to make miners have KYC for everyone. So anyone who uses the mining or that has to be KYC'd. And I would say a push from this is we've seen a lot of miners leaving China and moving over to, let's pull myself in a bit. We've seen a lot of miners leaving China and moving into the US. The US trying to make a play for this, but they could kill themselves before they even get started. Like, it was looking really good for the US there in terms of a lot of miners moving in, but if they start to bring in a lot of regulation around this, then they could scare off lots of miners before they even get started. I'm not sure. Great input. Thanks. I'm not sure what that was for, but that's good. And Metal Gear says agree as well. 500 sats for Michael. Yeah, it's crazy to look back at 500 sats. You can see when I zoom out, I have a lot of blue lines down here. For anyone who's been following the channel for a while, this is where we were charting it out down here back in November. I think the channel, somewhere back November, we started charting it in around here, and 982 was the level that I kept talking about all the time. We kept getting rejected off it. You can see under here, so many times we got rejected by 982. And once we broke it, we just went parabolic then. And once again, went straight up. So again, this was leading up to the really big events within the ecosystem. Super cycle, I don't know. honest opinion is I don't know. Anyone who tells you they know exactly where the market is going right now, then I would take it with a pinch of salt. Look, lots of people made mistakes when we were on the way up before, myself included, not taking enough of profits on the way up in the markets. Once we start moving up again, then I definitely will be taking more profits this time. There is this as well. So look, we've gone up 40% here. It's not uncommon in a bear market to even get bounces that are 40%. But what I see is different here. I've seen people talking about it today that, oh, you can easily get a 40%, 30, 40, 50% bounce in a bear market where you have fallen fairly sharply and then you get a bounce. But we haven't got a run like this in terms of 10 straight green days in the candles. Now, personally, 1-2 red days now is probably what's needed in the market. Sundays have a tendency to be a dump day, so don't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and the price has tanked by $1,000-$2,000. Not something I'm going to get worried about, especially when you consider where we were earlier on in the week as well. We were back down around the 30,000. Super cycle and extended cycle, they're definitely possible, but to be honest, I don't look out that much on them. I know Benjamin Cohen is a guy that I definitely follow on the chart and a really knowledgeable guy in that area. So if there is nothing else, then we will probably wrap it up in about 2 minutes. Any questions, do let me know. And I really do appreciate everyone that has tuned in tonight. I was debating whether to do a pre-recorded or do a live stream and thought we hadn't done a live stream in a while, but over the next while what you can expect here is lots more research on projects, because as I say, there's lots of them building in the background, lots of them that aren't going public yet, and they will be towards the end of August into September. You'll see a lot more new projects launching, so I will start talking a lot more about them. But I will also say that I don't do sponsored reviews for projects. So any project you see me bringing onto the channel, it is not going to be a paid feature or anything like that. Even projects that I have had on, I don't own any of the tokens. So it's not me pumping my bags or anything like that. I do need to start putting that disclaimer in there as well on the videos. But it's just part of my own due diligence is the reason that I bring them on. So look, we will wrap it up there. If you haven't hit like, please do so. I really do appreciate everyone that tuned in. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will follow up early next week to see how this plays out and see what is possible in the next week. Another 30-40% would be nice as well, wouldn't it? Vinny from New York City. Thanks for tuning in, Vinny. And thanks to everyone else. I will talk to you guys very